Good morning. It is my pleasure to welcome you all here today for our annual Veterans Day observance. I would like to give a special thank you to everyone who worked to make this celebration possible. This is truly a school-wide effort. Thank you to the Youth and Government Club for coordinating everything, and the participation of the National Honor Society, Interact Club, Student Council, Public Speaking Team, Fellowship of Christian Athletes, Art Club, FCS students, band, chorus, and our local scouts. The involvement of so many people is evidence of our support of our veterans. The United States Department of Veteran Affairs has adopted the theme, Honoring All Who Served. We hope the veterans assembled here or watching the video stream are able to sense our sincere appreciation of their sacrifices, their service, and their devotion to our country. To open our program, I would like to ask everyone to please rise for the Pledge of the Flag, which will be led by the members of our local Scouts troop, and remain standing for the playing of the National Anthem.
I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
It is my pleasure to ask Mr. Cesari to make some opening remarks.
Good morning, Wildcats. Today is one of the most exciting days for me in my 31 years as an educator. I have always admired the Veterans Day program. It is very near and dear to my heart, as I had a father who served in the military, and I had two grandfathers that served in World War II. And with us today, we have several veterans and their families joining us. I know we're going to get to meet them here in a short amount of time, but could we give them a round of applause in honor for Veterans Day? I want to welcome you all to Homer Center, where we take Veterans Day very seriously, and we are very appreciative of the many sacrifices not only our veterans, but their families made to keep our country safe and to give us the freedoms that we are able to enjoy in this great nation. I would encourage each and every one of you today to think about someone special in your life that has served in the military, that has given you the opportunity to do the things that you want to do, to live free in the most prosperous and greatest nation this world has ever seen. Tomorrow, when you are off, I would ask that you take a moment to think about all branches of the service, but in particularly the Marine Corps. It is their 248th birthday of the Marine Corps. And then Saturday, when it is Veterans Day, I would ask again that you reflect on someone special in your life. And if you have not had the pleasure of having someone serve in the military, I would ask that maybe you reach out to a neighbor. You talk to your father, your brother, your sister, aunt, uncle, grandparent who served in the military, whatever branch it may be, and you simply offer them a thank you and a hug and tell them how much you appreciate their service. See, because we are not here today if we don't have brave men and women all around this globe, not only protecting our freedoms, but protecting the freedoms of all nations that want to rise up and promote a democracy, a republic. Veterans Day is very, very important to each and every one of us. You may not have that veteran connection, but each and every day that you wake up and you pledge allegiance to that flag, or this great band plays the national anthem, each and every day there has been a sacrifice on the other side of that anthem or of that pledge. A family has been impacted, not just the veteran. Maybe a son or daughter who has not seen their father or mother for a period of months. Maybe a mom who has sent their child off to war or to defend this great nation. Each and every day there are sacrifices, not just by the veteran, but by those families. And I ask that you respect that. I ask that you appreciate that exceptional sacrifice that men and women are willing to make to protect this great nation. I'm honored to be here today and be on this stage. I got here just after Veterans Day last year. Veterans Day was the final assembly I got to do at my previous school. And I loved each and every opportunity to speak to students and have them understand how important it is that we have men and women and family that are willing to defend this great nation. So I hope you will sit up tall. I hope you will give your attention to our speakers, and I hope you will honor all those who have sacrificed for us, not only the veterans, but their families. To our guests, again, I say thank you, and I mean that from the bottom of my heart. Each and every day, I am grateful to be an American, and I am grateful to have courageous and brave men and women such as yourself who have defended this great nation. Thank you.
What is Veterans Day? Veterans Day gives us an opportunity to honor all who have answered the call to serve. Veterans Day was originally called Armistice Day, commemorating the end of World War I. While the war officially ended when the Treaty of Versailles was signed, the fighting actually ended about 7 months earlier when the Allies and Germany put into effect armistice, or a stop of fighting. On the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month, this is why we celebrate Veterans Day on November 11th. Since World War I was a global event, other countries recognize Veterans Day as well. In Canada, Australia, and the UK, it is called Remembrance Day. Whatever it is called, it is an opportunity for us to show our appreciation for the millions of brave men and women who have honorably served. Title 38 of the Code of Federal Regulations defines a veteran as a person who has served in the active military, naval, or air service, and who was discharged or released under conditions other than dishonorable. Anyone who has served in the honorable in the eight uniformed service of the U.S. government is considered a veteran. Veterans are parents, siblings, men and women, old and young. They come from all races and walks of life. Throughout their differences, they have one thing in common: their commitment to serve this country.
The theme for Veterans Day 2023 is service. Veterans are proud of their military service in defending our nation. Honor reflects the military value and tradition of answering the call to duty. There is distinct honor in serving to protect our way of life and the Constitution of the United States of America. Our veterans are role models for the character traits that make up good citizens. As we recognize their service, may we also recognize the lessons their service teaches us all. Service empowers all of us to use our gifts and talents to improve the lives of others. Our program today consists of a collection of musical pieces and prepared comments by student speakers.
For the main part of our program, members of the Heritage Conference Impromptu Speaking Team have prepared remarks relating to the significance of Veterans Day. Speaking about the topic of service, we have sophomore Joss Benz.
Service impacts everyone, even if you haven't been directly affected. There are many different forms of service. One example is the ultimate sacrifice of serving in our nation's military. The quote, "This country will not be a good place for any of us to live unless we make it a good place for all of us to live," by Theodore Roosevelt portrays that we as a society can't be selfish if we want to grow and thrive together. If everyone could do at least one act of service once a day, our world would be a safer and finer place. To truly be selfless is to do an act of kindness or service without being told or expecting anything in return. An act of service doesn't have to be a grand gesture. It can be something as simple as holding a door for someone or helping in a school-affiliated club. A small gesture, such as making a card, can show veterans that their service is appreciated. An act of kindness can make such an impact in people's life. For instance, in Interact Club earlier this week, we went around to all the classrooms and students made cards to honor and thank our veterans. The value of service is the feeling of self-worth you get from helping your community. Like Roosevelt, who served as president of our great nation and made the ultimate commitment of serving in our United States military, we should try to serve our country any way we can, big or small. Any contribution will bring our nation closer together. We could all contribute to an act of service by thanking our veterans today.
senior high chorus, under the direction of Miss Laura Root, will now perform God Bless the USA.
Next, I would like to introduce Junior Riley Missick.
Veteran service is one of, if not the, most impactful forms of service. They have sacrificed an extensive amount to protect our rights and our freedom. They have sacrificed their stability, family, and their physical and emotional well-being, all for us. They have missed birthdays, graduations, reunions, births, funerals, and so much more. Veterans do all this, and yet they don't only sacrifice and serve during their military service. They are more likely to volunteer, vote, give to charity, and work to fix problems in their community. Veterans are some of the most active, caring, and impactful people. And yet, veterans are some of the most mistreated people. Veterans have a higher rate of unemployment, mainly due to stereotypes. Many employers think that veterans are too angry, rigid, unsociable, and volatile for civilian jobs. This erroneous stereotype has left veterans facing a 5.5% unemployment rate compared to a 3.9% civilian unemployment rate. Veterans also have a higher rate of homelessness. This is facilitated by the higher unemployment rate, lack of familial support, and lack of affordable housing. If our most noble, selfless, and brave people are being so severely mistreated, then we have failed them. They have sacrificed greatly and served so diligently for our country, just for us to return the favor by neglecting and disrespecting them. The media complains that people aren't joining the military. Well, I don't blame those who don't. But these men and women are different. They saw the odds against them and continue to fight for our rights and our freedoms. They are why we need to make this country a better place for veterans to live in. As Theodore Roosevelt once said, this country will not be a good place for any of us to live in unless we make it a good place for all of us to live in. But how can we do that? Serving veterans varies from volunteering at your local Veterans Affairs Department or donating to reputable organizations to even calling a veteran relative, having dinner with them, or going on a walk. It can even be just thanking a veteran when you see one or holding the door for a veteran. Any action taken to show your appreciation for the men and women who've sacrificed so much so we can even just sit in this auditorium goes a long way. The veterans in front of you today have served in ways that most of us will never be able to fully understand. The least any of us can do to combat the mistreatment of these and other veterans is to thank them for their service. Please take the time to do so not only today, but every day. Thank you.
Our high school band, under the direction of Mr. John Stolars, will now play Stars and Stripes Forever.
Finally, we have Senior Eden Gutierrez.
Ladies and gentlemen, within this assembly, we gather to honor and pay tribute to the brave men and women who have selflessly served our country, to reflect on their sacrifices, their dedication, and the profound impact they have had on our nation. As we are here together, I would like to share a powerful quote by Mahatma Gandhi, which resonates deeply with the nature and service and sacrifice. The best way to find yourself is to lose yourself in the service of others. These words encapsulate the very essence of what it means to be a veteran. Those who have served in our armed forces have demonstrated this truth time and time again. They have given of themselves, their time, and their talents to protect the freedoms we hold dear. They have to put their own lives on the line willingly so that others may live in peace and prosperity. Within my personal experience of just being a normal U.S. citizen, I find myself lost in the work and giving time and effort into others' needs. However, getting lost, I found myself peace and choose only to do my best for everyone around me. Veterans are a huge inspiration for me to live life selflessly and to help others in any way possible. In the face of adversity, our veterans have shown unwavering courage. They have faced challenges with resilience and determination, never faltering in their commitment to their duty. They have lost themselves in the service of our nation, finding a deeper sense of purpose and meaning within themselves. But let us not forget that journey of service does not end with their time in the military. They continue to channel the same spirit of selflessness, using their experiences and skills to make a positive impact on the lives of others. Today, let us not only honor our veterans, but also reflect on the profound lesson in Gandhi's words. Let us be inspired to give back, to lend a helping hand, and to find ourselves in the service of others. In doing so, we not only honor the legacy of our veterans, but we also contribute to the betterment of our communities and our nation as a whole. To our veterans, we thank you for your sacrifices, your dedication, and your unwavering commitment to our great nation. Your service is a beacon of inspiration for us all. May we strive to live up to the example you have set, and may we find ourselves through the service of others. Thank you everyone for being here, and thank you veterans for your service.
It is my pleasure to introduce Terry Green, who will perform Amazing Grace.
Read the proclamation. The sixth graders.
Each year, the President of the United States issues a Veterans Day proclamation. As last year, President Biden has designated the entire month of November as National Veterans and Military Families Month. I would like to welcome 6th grade students Maddox Green, Sarah Privish, and Blair Mack to share the President's proclamation.
The poet John Milton once wrote, "They also serve who only stand and live." During National Veterans and Military Families Month, we recognize that our military and veteran families answer our nation's call to duty, and we recommit to doing it right by their service and sacrifice. For me, the First Lady, and the entire Biden family, it is personal. When our son Beau was deployed to Iraq, we learned what it meant to pray every day for the safe return of someone you love. Our grandkids learned what it meant to have their dad overseas in a war zone instead of at home, tucking them into bed and reading them a story every night. Millions of Americans have had that experience. To all the mothers and fathers, sisters and brothers, sons and daughters, spouses and partners, and loved ones who stand alongside our veterans and service members, you are the solid steel spine that bears up under every burden and the courageous heart that rises to every challenge. Our nation has only one truly sacred obligation: to prepare those we sent into harm's way and care for them and their families while they are deployed and when they return home. Since the beginning of my administration, fulfilling that obligation has been my top priority. In June, I signed an executive order that establishes the most comprehensive set of administrative actions in our nation's history to support the economic security of military and veteran spouses, caregivers, and survivors.
It encourages all federal agencies to do more to retain military spouses through flexible policies, improves the ability for spouses to maintain their employment when moving overseas. It allows spouses to seek advice on overseas employment issues through military legal assistance offices for the first time and improves spouses' access to quality and dependable and affordable childcare. Since the beginning of my administration, I have signed more than 30 bipartisan bills to expand the service and benefits that support our veterans and their families, caregivers, and survivors, including the Sergeant First Class Heath Robinson, honoring our promise to address Comprehensive Toxics PACT Act, the most significant expansion of benefits and services for toxin-exposed veterans and survivors in over 30 years. We released a national strategy to reduce military and veteran suicide by tackling some of the root causes of this crisis, like addressing financial insecurity by expanding job training opportunities for transitioning service members and veterans and their spouses, and increasing funding to prevent and eliminate homelessness. Further, I signed an executive order that implemented historic bipartisan military justice reforms to transform how the military handles sexual assault and domestic violence cases in order to make our military safer and more just. Earlier this year, I directed the Department of Defense to review pay and benefits for our military members because our armed forces and their families deserve a 21st century compensation system that reflects their service and sacrifice. Additionally, the First Lady Joining Forces initiative is providing support to military and veteran families, caregivers, and survivors by improving economic opportunity for military families, making school transitions easier for military children, and expanding resources to promote health and well-being for this community.
Our fighting force is the greatest in the world, in no small part because year after year and decade after decade, military and veteran families have had their loved ones' backs. As a country, we owe it to these families to have their backs. This year, as we celebrate 50 years of an all-volunteer force, may we also recognize the bravery and dedication of our military and veteran families and work to repay the debt of gratitude we owe each one of them. Now, therefore, I, Joseph R. Biden, Jr., President of the United States of America, by virtue of authority vested in me by the Constitution and laws of the United States, do hereby proclaim November 2023 as National Veterans and Military Families Month. I call upon the people of the United States to honor veterans and military families with appropriate ceremonies and activities. In witness whereof, I have hereunto set my hand this 31st day of October, in the year of our Lord 2023, and the independence of the United States of America, the 248th. Joseph R. Biden, Jr.
It is my pleasure to introduce Landon Schaub for the next part of our program.
It is our honor to recognize each of the veterans who were able to join us today. Each will receive a token of our appreciation. In addition, we present them with a certificate of appreciation that reads, "In appreciation of your tireless efforts in support of our United States Armed Forces, your dedication and service to our country is an honorable addition to the fight for freedom throughout the world. We pay special tribute to you for your service to America." It is my pleasure to take this opportunity to introduce the veterans present. Please hold your applause until we recognize each honored guest. United States Marine Corps Sergeant John Miller, Army Sergeant First Class Zach Patterson, Air Force Leonard Evancic, U.S. Navy Engineman Second Class Jim Bentz, Army E9 Bonnie McCracken, U.S. Army ES Dave Scherer, U.S. Army SP4 Richard Rainey, U.S. Navy Machinist Second Class Sam Marone, United States Marine Corps Corporal James Elliott, Navy RD3 Demi Marshall, and Army Specialist Fourth Class Keith Welteroth.
Now it is my pleasure to introduce Terry Green, who will perform Amazing Grace.
Thank you.
Each year, the Veterans Administration seeks contributions for the annual poster contest. This year's winner designed a poster featuring a bugler. Bugle calls are not songs and they do not have lyrics, yet when heard, calls evoke the emotion and the pride of service for members of every uniform branch listed on the poster, he said. More than 100 bugle calls are used in the United States Armed Services, including a few used only for emergencies, such as man overboard or abandoned ship. For that reason, the bugler connects each service member on land, air, and sea. Of all the military bugle calls, none is so easily recognized or more apt to render emotion than the call taps. The melody is both eloquent and haunting and serves as a vital component in ceremonies honoring military personnel. It is fitting then that as we honor all who serve their country, we take a moment to remember those lost in harm while serving, those who bravely served at home or overseas, and also those presently serving in the armed forces. As a tribute to honor all veterans, Hunter Elias, Madison Bash, Brady Frazier, Isabella Arone, and Becca Marshall will perform the traditional taps. In recognition of President Biden's request, please join me in observing a moment of silence to honor all veterans. Thank you.
Our veterans safeguard the rights and freedoms of all Americans. In closing, former President John F. Kennedy once said, "Let every nation know, whether it wishes us well or ill, that we shall pay any price, bear any burden, meet any hardships, support any friend, oppose any foe, to assure the survival and success of liberty." Elmer Davis said, "This nation will remain the land of the free only so long as it is home of the brave." So as our nation pauses on Veterans Day to pay tribute to the 50 million veterans, the brave men and women who have served our country in uniform throughout its history, we do so with gratitude and honor. We honor each of you, American veterans, who served faithfully and honorably. Whether your service was during war or peace, at home, or on foreign soil. Your service came with personal cost to you and your family. Through your sacrifice and service, you have secured for millions of others the blessings, freedom, democracy, and unmatched opportunity that we enjoy in the United States today. For that, we are grateful. For those in attendance today, we challenge you to make this Veterans Day one of service. Even if it is a little thing, do something for someone in need. We hope you enjoyed our program today. This concludes our program today. We invite all our honored guests to stay for some refreshments in the library. At this time, would Interact Club members please come and escort them?